Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Shrimp Nation. Hope you all are doing well. Happy Monday, guys. I'm here with a couple of updates. So, welcome back to the Shrimp Fried Rice podcast. I missed you guys. I've been waiting all week to make this podcast, and I feel like now I procrastinated it to the last minute, and I hate feeling that way. So, I'm going to try to do more podcasts throughout the week if I have the time, just so I still have that clear train of thought where I left it. I don't want to overwhelm myself either. Like, I don't want to feel like this is work, because this is really a passion project of getting people the help that they need, or maybe just shared experiences in my life that could help people. Sorry, my Grogu ears sticking out. We got Pumpkin here exploring. All right, so just a couple of updates. I don't know if you guys freaking noticed my little boo-boo. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I finally got a freaking little boo-boo. It's taken months, dude. I've been waiting for this for like a while now. My sister was able to get me one finally. And sorry, Pumpkin's distracting me. Look at her. She's freaking out because I have this on my lap. She's like, what the hell is that, bro? Which I wanted to show you guys in a second. So, anyways, I got my little boo-boo. I'm excited to have it. It's literally my favorite color. It matches my tattoo. It matches so much. Like, that I love this color. It makes me happy. But, yeah, I didn't know it was going to be this color. I was hoping for the purple one as well, because I love the purple, but green would have been amazing too. Green's also my favorite color. So, honestly, any of them would have been fine except orange is basically what I said. And I have the video in my TikToks. I did a little vlog or unboxing, whatever you want to call it. And another update I wanted to show you guys. I got to go to Japan Village, and bro, my dyslexia is so bad. I kept calling the store the Bramco store. Are we dead ass, chat? Bandy Nameco. Apparently Pumpkin's touching everything in OBS. What are you doing? Please stop. Stop, Pumpkin. Pumpkin, chill. Apparently my dyslexia fucked it up, but I was gonna get this last time I went. I'm gonna do this on stream. I'm pretty sure I have to build it, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm glad that I finally got it. Last time I was like, no, I don't know. It's like $20, and now I was just like, yeah, I've spent $20 on food, so might as well spend it on something that can go in my little stream background. It's a model kit, but you don't need tools, glue, or paint, so I think it will be pretty simple. It shows you like how to build it basically, but I think it'll be cute. So let me put this back in the bag. And I'll show you what Pumpkin's freaking out about. This is my little fidget toy that I got around Christmas time a few years ago that I brought for myself. I've been trying to supply myself with some toys while I talk, so my ADHD doesn't get too bad. So it's like one of those bubble pop things. So you just, but it's also like on a keychain. I never put it on my keys. I just kind of like, have it with me sometimes on stream. Another one I wanted to show you I thought was cool. I just wanted to flex, I guess. Was this. I got this because it reminded me of a toy I had when I was a kid. So you just try to get the rings on the rockets. I have gotten all of them on one rocket before, which was really cool to try to do that. So you just like lightly apply pressure or forcefully. Sometimes you can go like super fast. This isn't like an ADHD toy I was going to really play with while I was talking to you guys today. Look at me going hard. I'm doing it like the reverse way. Now if I try to go the other way, it might disturb the other rings a little bit. Let me try to make it even. But yeah, basically the goal is, if any of y'all too young to remember this, is to get all of the rings on both of those structures and have none left, which I used to love these as a kid. And this is just one of those things that reminds me of our simplistic childhoods we used to have in an age before technology that my future kids will definitely be having, because something as simple as this is 90%, maybe 99% less damaging than a phone or a tablet that these parents just be handing their kids these days. No shade, because I know some kids like really, like, parents need to have a break sometimes. But like, with that being said, like, a lot of these kids are basically born with a tablet in their hands now. As someone who has a early childhood development degree and worked in a daycare for like, what, 6 years? Yeah, like, I've learned a lot. And I think one of my, I used to go to class. I took 150 hours of classes a month just for the love of the game, because I just really wanted to learn more about helping kids with early learning disabilities and early signs, because a lot of parents just really don't see it, or maybe it's culturally in disbelief, like, especially just my background, living with like an immigrant family of no, there's nothing wrong with them, it's fine. Oh, my uncle had that, it's nothing to worry about. And something as simple as that could help a kid that's like 2 or 3 years old if you get them the help that they need early. And then those kids may not actually have to struggle their entire adult life and be behind and deal with a lot of more difficulties in school that other kids don't even understand the depth of. So yeah, so I was trying my best to help those kids, but I think that career path is gone for me. I can't work with kids anymore. It's just too stressful. It was more stressful, like, not to work with kids. Like, it's more stressful to work with the parents. Like I said, it was really hard. I got a lot of kids help that they needed, but I've had a lot of backlash. Like, there's this one kid, he was nonverbal. He was 4 years old and he was still not potty trained. And anytime that we would try to get him, like, he was very parasocial. Like, he wouldn't want to play with anybody. And if any kid tried to take his toy, he'd lose his mind, which a lot of these things are really early signs of children on the spectrum. But I was not allowed, understandably, to make my own presumptions of what anybody's stuff could be, even though I was taking psychology as my major separately from early childhood development. It's not something we should do. But as like someone who is someone in the daycare, like, you are legally obligated, and not just legally obligated, but you should morally be obligated to report these things to the state, because the state has free government funding, at least in New York, and not like the parents would get in trouble or anything. And it's just so the parents get help, and they get free funding, free help for parents. They put these kids, they get them evaluated in the daycare. They even go into the home for free on the time of the parents that they have, just to evaluate the children, see what's going on, see how they play, ask their parents questions, how they eat, just literally observation, no comments. They don't even like really ask many questions on the first visit. The second visit, then they ask questions. And yeah, this kid really didn't speak a lot, and I felt so bad for him. And I was like, look, like, he needs to get help. And a social worker came by, did evaluation. It turns out he was on the spectrum. And I didn't say that he was. No one really acknowledged it in the daycare. We didn't treat him any differently. But what we did do was implement his, he was getting physical therapy as well as speech therapy. We were able to implement it in our program to help him. So, like, it was 100% to benefit this child and his needs, which was amazing. But I just remember his parents, like, after they got his diagnosis, and they're like, hey, we're going to put him in a special school. We're not going to have him in the daycare all day long. What we're going to do is, for like 3 hours in the morning, they put him on a bus that's free to the school. The parents put him at like 7 in the morning. He stays there for like 3-4 hours. Then the bus drops him off like right in front of the daycare. We receive the child. Then we have him in the daycare. We try to help him. He gets to eat lunch and snack and whatever. And then he gets to play and like all the other daycare kids. And then his parents pick him up. And it's literally no inconvenience to the parent at all. But I remember his parents like came yelling at me and the daycare owner, especially me though, because I was the one who tried to get him the help, saying like, you said that my son is retarded and he's not. How dare you? Now they want to take our kid from us and all this stuff. And I was like, listen, like, I never said that. And then they're not going to take your kid away. And these people are just here to help. And I had been working in a like all Hispanic daycare. Most of the kids were Ecuadorian, but we had some El Salvadorians and Mexicans and Dominicans. Like it was really mixed, but most population of the kids were Ecuadorian. But like they were very like much like hard no on any help for these kids, which isn't right. And at least like I had like the daycare owner to help me like back me up, but it was just like heartbreaking because it's like, can't you see that your child can't speak? Can't you see that he's literally shitting his pants at 4 years old and wearing a diaper? Like, in your other kids, like you have your own kids that aren't doing this, and there's other kids in the daycare that are potty trained. Like he's throwing temper tantrums with you guys and with us. Like he would throw temper tantrums so bad, like he would throw himself back, and like if you were holding him, like he would headbutt you. Like I got hit in the throat so many times, and like, or he would throw himself on the floor. He would hit his own head on the floor, like just for something that was not really that big of a deal, but to him, since he couldn't use his words, that's the only way he could express himself. And then like after a while he got the help that he needed, and he was able to talk, and literally it was such a heartwarming moment. It made me cry. He called me Miss Kayla and literally gave me a hug, and I don't know if it's like he knew that I tried to help him, or maybe it's just because I was the only one that was actively trying to help him. But yeah, it felt very rewarding, and I just felt so bad for this kid, and I wanted to help every kid like that. And I think I got like 6 kids total, like extra help that they needed, and it meant the world to me. But the thing is like dealing with those parents, not with those children, what was so mentally draining to me, because it was literally an argumentative battle. And of course it's their choice. There's no requirement, and they can actually deny getting the help that their child needs even after getting evaluated, even though it's free. And one parent did that. And like the daycare owner was like, listen, like your son really needs this. And she's like, I don't care. I don't want my son labeled as autistic. And then she's like, doesn't matter the label. Like no one's trying to make out your kid something that he's not. And even so, if he is autistic, there's nothing wrong with that. And at least he's getting the help so he can like function like in society and with kids, and they can help him like now. So yeah, it was just kind of heartbreaking, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. It was just so stressful. Those parents were killing me. I feel like it was like, yes, working with like 30 kids a day is just draining physically, mentally, emotionally, even though there was like a lot of good times that came out of it. But with those parents, like having to deal with those parents, not wanting to help their kids was just like, I couldn't deal with it anymore. But yeah, anyways, that's just another part of my life. I don't know where this was leading, but maybe it's just my own ADHD. I think that was me leading back up to myself, dealing with my immigrant parents, and my brother not getting the help that he needed, but my whole life being like living with dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and being undiagnosed until my senior year of high school. My English teacher, when I was writing my college essay, read it and was like, "Are you dyslexic?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, why would you say that?" And then she's like, "Oh my God, nobody told you? I thought you knew." She's like, "Well, I'm not supposed to diagnose you, but you're clearly dyslexic." Like, she's like, every time like I give you a draft, like you send in your rough draft and you have all these errors, like, aren't you checking like spelling mistakes? And I'm like, yeah, and I correct them. but clearly like I don't like, I don't know. I remember like in school, I like P's, D's, and B's, they all are flipped for me. So they still kind of are sometimes. I just have to like really like reread something 3-4 times. And it was also hard for me to read books in school, like until I found out you can get an audiobook. Because like if I heard it while I was reading, I could like actually focus, or else my eyes are going all over the page. Undiagnosed. Anyways, I think the difference is with the iPad kids versus like my childhood upbringing and having ADHD undiagnosed and all those other learning disabilities. And I was getting back to that kid that I was telling you guys about. And his parents, instead of dealing with his tantrums at like properly, like trying to say like, why is he throwing a tantrum right now? Did we do something? Did someone do something to him? What is he trying to express? Like, what is he trying to say? What does he need? They never really took a step back into thinking like, I don't know what to do. And they would just be like, here you go, and hand him an iPad. And that kid did not know how to talk, but man, did he know how to do an iPad. He would go to YouTube, scroll through the videos, click on what he wanted to do and watch. And like, that was great. Like, and that shows that he's very smart, but like, that was just still unacceptable. If he did have a learning disability where he needed to use his iPad as a tool to speak, that would be different, but it wasn't one of those situations. But yeah, get your kids some toys, man. Like, get the phones away from them. Don't let them be playing video games all the time. Like, it's truly rotting the brains of society. And I just feel like, especially in the streaming world, like I know I was going on a rant like on one of my podcasts, I don't remember which episode, that I was saying that like, you know, like everybody wants to be a podcaster, a streamer, a content creator, whatever, and it's great, just do it with purpose. Like some people are just doing this, regurgitating out content just to try to do it without even thinking anything of it. But I don't know, I just feel like it's not just the people who are making the content, it's also an issue with the people who are consuming the content, because there's so much issues like with how people react. Like how I said on my first podcast, people are in the comments talking about they're waiting for my OnlyFans link. What about me talking about my life gave the impression that I have an OnlyFans? Why? Because I'm a woman? Because I wore a tank top? Like, how does that make me someone who is susceptible to doing that? I'm not saying there's anything against it, but I don't know how people just have the audacity nowadays to say whatever they want in comments. And people do it on live stream on Twitch all the time to me with a bunch of different things, not just that. But it's also like the type of content that's being put out. I feel like people have lost some sort of empathy or maybe it's sympathy towards others as a society. And it's just like one of those issues that I feel like needs to be discussed, because I just feel like, you know, growing up, maybe it's just the era I grew up in, I feel like a lot of the internet was a safe space to escape from the reality of the world. And I think I'm really trying my best to continue on with that, with my Twitch streams, with the games I play, with healing my inner child and stuff like that. But also at the same time, the internet has never been a safe place for a child. There's children constantly being groomed and kidnapped and overly sexualized, etc. The list goes on. There's also like no one there to stop it. And I feel like this topic is leading to what I wanted to talk about with Roblox. I personally was never into Roblox. Literally, my brother, I think, played it as a kid. I never wanted to play it. I thought it was lame until I saw Dress to Impress come out. Like, was it last year? I saw Dress to Impress come out. I saw a few people play it. I saw Queso play it, and I was like, I need to play this. This is very much me. This is very much Slay. And And then I played a couple other Roblox games on there, like they had the Squid Games, and I played some Brain Rot games, like just like started to do community games because I was like, hey, this is like easy to do community games with everybody. Like we all don't have to be friends, but we can all join in, and it's just a simple game that's free type of thing that I can involve the community with, which was nice. But I'm currently now boycotting Roblox until I think it's the owners or the CEO, whoever it is, does something about the pedophiles on that app. And of course, there's pedophiles everywhere on every app, unfortunately. I hate that to even say that. I just know that's just how the world works. But why is there a person who did his own investigation in Roblox, calling out pedophiles, catching them, and then that guy who's doing this work gets banned, and his CEO or the owner of the company is just like nonchalant about it? Now they banned his own name, so if anyone talks about it in the Roblox chat, the name is banned. It's like not discussable. So instead of actually doing the problem, like fixing the problem and saying, oh my God, there's all these pedophiles on this app, we need to do more moderation. We need to make sure that we have a team of people. There should be words that are censored, like especially if these people are getting around censored words to do this. Like maybe like if people are using the voice chat, like voice moderation, like I don't understand like why the company, like I'm sure they make billions of dollars, would not want to do something to help the people that are using it to be safe. That's really fucked up. So unfortunately, I had some big plans in Roblox. I was creating my own game in there, but I'm not going to do that unless they actually make a change. I mean, maybe I won't even do it then. It depends on how I feel at the point in my life. I don't want to make any absolutes right now, but it's just really fucked up. So if you're a parent and you have your kid on this godforsaken internet, please do your due diligence as a parent to monitor what they're doing. And especially Roblox. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty other games, especially Twitch or whatever. I just like, I could never, I don't know. I could never live knowing that my kid is on an app that they could be getting groomed on, because all it takes is for them to be at school and be kidnapped, or just be out with their friends and be kidnapped, or even if they're not physically harmed and kidnapped, even just being groomed online is not okay. Kids shouldn't be exposed to those things. And that's just speaking from my own experience that I just don't feel comfortable with talking about. But I just feel like it is something I need to say, because maybe it is pretty clear and obvious, and you would assume that parents would do this, but clearly it's not. Because it just happens all the time, unfortunately. Okay. Sorry, guys. I know it's completely way too serious for a Monday morning, but like I said, this podcast is just going to be me maybe hitting some hard topics, maybe having some laughs, reminiscing on good times, reminiscing on some bad times. I don't know. I just feel like I need to say what I need to say, and I think it's going to be out there, and hopefully it may help somebody. So I have like a notes app list of all the things I want to talk about. And I don't know if I can get through all these topics today, but I'm going to do my best. So let me get some water. Sorry. I can never have it nearby because Pumpkin knocks it down all the time. All right. So I owe you guys for 3 podcast episodes talking about my fire department life. So I'll go through everything, and I'll try not to make it long and drawn out. So I joined the fire department. Yes, Pumpkin. She's crying. She wants to be pet. I love you, baby. I joined the fire department for about a year, and it was like basically, I think I don't know. This is the whole story. It's gonna go back and forth. So as you guys know, I wanted to go to school for medical school, and I was like, yeah, let me join the fire department, because I hear so many people that are like, oh, you want to join the school for medical school? Guess what? I tried to join, and then when I was like my first week of residency, I saw some guy with no legs because he got into a car accident, and then I passed out, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I was like, what the hell? Like, okay, like, of course I didn't think of that, because my brain was like, yeah, I want to be a heart surgeon. You know, it's not really too gruesome, pretty clear cut and dry. But of course, you're doing a hospital residency. It's very generalized. Before you pick your specialty, of course, you're going to have to deal with everything. And that may make people change what they want to do, which is good, because we need doctors in other specialties too. So I was like, yeah, let me just join the fire department. So I joined as a local firefighter. I have asthma, so I wanted to be a firefighter my whole life. My grandpa was a firefighter, his brother, like family, friends, cousins, like it's just like big firefighter family. And I always want to be like a hook and ladder like member, but I couldn't because of my asthma, unfortunately. But it was good because at least I could be a medic and help people. I mean, you can do both. It's not a big deal. You can literally do both. But yeah, I just couldn't do that. So when I joined the medics, I was still going to college full time, and I had 3 jobs to pay for my bills. So it was really me spreading myself thin. I also had a boyfriend who was also very controlling and abusive during that time period too, which was really shitty, which we might go into today. Maybe not. I don't know. It depends on how long it takes to tell my stories. So yeah, the way you have to join is like an active member has to basically invite you. You sign a bunch of paperwork. Basically, you volunteer your time there for a few weeks. They see if you're working hard enough, then you're going to be eligible to join. I didn't know much more about that, than that. So it kind of set me up to fail in a couple of ways, but it wasn't like that bad. So I joined by a family member's ex-wife, which apparently she's a cunt. I did not know because I never really spent time with her, because I was like, whenever I would see her, like my great aunt that I live with used to babysit her kid because they were always working, and I would see the kid all the time, and then her mom would just pick up the kid, and that was it. So I never really saw her. But apparently there was a lot of drama with her in the fire department. So when I joined, it just kind of made me look bad, because when she brought me there, come on, Pumpkin. This is what I was talking about. She knocked my water down. When I joined there, it was like already like scandalous, because she was like, oh, this is my niece. That was mistake number 1. I was never her niece, because technically she married my cousin, and then they got divorced, and she's not my aunt. And like, I know, like, I feel like it just being an Italian family, like we call like uncle and aunt like very loosely to like close family friends, just out of respect. But also it's like they've been in the family for so many years. They're your uncle and your aunt. But like for her, not being a close relation to me personally, like in my life, but also like relative wise, she wasn't, I don't know. It just made me look bad. Anyways, didn't know that. So sign some paperwork. You don't have to really sign much like when you first go there. It's more like liability stuff. And then you would show up every Thursday. On Thursdays every week they would do like maintenance on the vehicles. So they would like we had 4 ambulances in the ambulance bay, and we would rotate which ambulance goes out each week. So it would like, this is the ambulance bay. If you're looking out the like open garage doors and to leave, the first ambulance is on the front left. That one goes out first, then this is the second ambulance, and then they have 3 and then 4. So number 1 ambulance and number 2 ambulance were always priority, but we would always maintenance all 4 just in case. But we would only usually have 2 ambulances out at a time because there was not enough active members to really help. If there was a third call for medics, that we'd have to call backup from a different town, basically. But it was really rare. What are you doing? Get down! Stop! She's trying to climb my wall back there. I don't even know if y'all saw that. It was out of camera frame. She always does the weirdest fucking shit every time I'm on camera or I'm on stream. She's just like, hey, let me just do something for fucking attention right now. I spend time with her all day long and then she's like, nope, need more attention right now. She gets jealous, I swear. She knows I'm talking to you guys and not her, and she's like, yeah, fuck that. I'm gonna start a riot. Anyways, yeah, so I joined, it was like, I joined in like June, let's say 2017, I'd assume. And I did the 4 weeks of like, you have to clean the outside of the ambulances, like basically mop them, and then, you know, rinse them off. And then we go inside the ambulance, and they have a cool system where they have everything on inventory checklist. You go through the entire inventory, and it's by sections. So each have a little cabinet. So it will be like numbered, let's say 1 through 10 cabinets. And then in number 1 cabinet, you know, all those materials are always there, which is good because no matter what ambulance you're on, the materials are always the same. So there's no confusion. And then they have a slidey door that's clear so you can see it. But on those doors, it has a like zip tie tag, but it's easily to be removed when you pull on it. So on those zip tie tags would be a specific color for the week that they maintenance it. And then we put our initials and our badge number on it to see who the last person did the inventory was, just for accountability reasons, just in case there's any issues. And on the medicine cabinets, those ones, those have tags of expirations of if there's anything expiring soon. So we know, okay, this tag is going to expire. So sometimes you can have up to 3 colors on an ambulance, but we like to check them every like other week just to make sure products aren't expiring, like for sterilization purposes, or just to make sure that everyone's doing their job and counting. Everyone needs to be held accountable. And if there's an issue, they're held accountable. So you do that. And then what else do we do? You have to like mop and sweep the floors of the ambulance bay and the building, take out the trash, test all the walkie-talkies, put the old walkie-talkies on the chargers, because we had like 2 sets for each. So we had like 20 walkie-talkies. So like those ones in the ambulance, you bring it to the batteries, the battery chargers, the ones that are on the chargers, you bring to the ambulances. And then, what else do we have to do? Whatever, I'll remember it. We have to go through like the Rolodex to make sure the addresses are updated, like the maps, make sure the maps are updated. We have like emergency plans for so many different disasters that could possibly happen on there. We have to just make sure the books are good and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I was doing that every week for a whole month. And then when it became July, I was like, hey guys, I've been doing this for 4 weeks. Can I become a member now? And they were like, nah, not yet. Like, you still haven't proven like trustworthiness, basically. And I was like, but I'm here early, like every week. I'm doing everything that you asked. I'm working harder than the other recruits. Like, I'm just curious on how long it'll take. And then they get mad, and then they're like, oh, well, clearly you're not meant to be cut out for this if you're just trying to like rush the process. And I was just like, no, I'm not trying to rush the process. It's just that I'm volunteering my time for 4 hours every week, and I have 3 jobs in school, and I of course will be giving you guys more hours once I am a member, but I just feel like it's not fair that I'm volunteering these hours and I'm not getting the credit. Like, it's not going to count because I'm not a member. So that they just didn't like that. After that, they started giving me like the worst possible chores, like, and they were just assholes. So I was like, whatever, you know what? I'm just going to keep doing this because like I want to do this. I want to make sure that I can handle being in these medical situations, but I also want to do it to help my community because like community service is great. Being able to help people is great. Like I said, like so many members of my family did that. Like we all have had like a calling to do that. And so I went through like the whole summer, and I remember like there was at one point where me working the 3 jobs, I needed to cover someone's shift on a Thursday. And I wasn't a member yet. And I was like, hey, I can't make it this week. And they like fucking lost their mind. They were like, oh, well, you want to be a member, but you can't even make it on an obligated day. You know, like when you're a probationary member, you're going to be obligated to be here every Thursday. And I'm like, yeah, I'm completely aware, but I'm not a member. And you guys don't want to sign me over. It's been 2 months now. So when you guys make me a member, that would be a difference. It was like a whole thing. And then after that, I was pissed off, and I went to like the higher ups, and I was like, you guys need to make me a member, like, or I'm going to stop, because being here for 2 months and this not being counted is just not right. I want to help like the community. I want to be able to get the same benefits other members got, because other members got like health insurance. They get a retirement plan. Like it was an unpaid thing, but if you are on so many calls and help so many hours, you get like a retirement plan, which may not be much. It may be like $50 a month. It could be like $500 a month, but it still counts. And, you know, I shouldn't be like there for 2 months without any credit at all. And at that point, I wasn't doing anything but maintenance. Like, of course, this is still part of the job of being in EMS, but cleaning floors is not really me volunteering for my community. I was just everybody's bitch at the fire department that didn't want to do their Thursday duties, which wasn't fair to me. At that point, I found out that my cousin's ex-wife was a cunt, and the way she set me up to fail, because I didn't understand why these people had a fucking problem with me if nobody knew who I was. From Florida, like, I don't know, like I'd never had beef with anybody in New York, because I would come to New York every summer. I had cousins there. Like, it was never an issue. But yeah, I found out like the tea is my cousin's ex-wife dated the captain of the fire department, and the tea is I don't know if somebody cheated or what, but the captain started dating somebody else, and there was beef between the 2 girls, and they would just like literally bring their beef into the fire department, screaming fits. They almost fist fought, and mind you, these are grown-ass women like in their 40s, so it's like embarrassing love. Why are you fighting over this man who ain't shit? Anyways, clearly like it's an issue with all of them that had nothing to do with me. So, I don't know. I think I talked to somebody else about it, and they were like, why haven't they put you as a member? Like, you're a great person. You're always helpful, whatever. I'm gonna vouch for you. So for the next meeting, you get sworn in. So I was like, great. So mind you, this is like August at that point. So the monthly meeting goes by, and they're like, oh, you know, Kayla wants to join, and we have other probationary members that should join too. So let's just swear in the probationary members. Guess what? Not me. For August, they didn't swear me in, but the other probationary members that started in July, even though I was there in June, they swore in. And at that point, I was like really annoyed, because I was just like, why would they not swear me in when I was there longer and working harder than these people? But the thing is that I found out it's like all about who you know, which is really lame, because I really thought we're here to help people. Like, I just want to go on ambulances call, give people like first aid, and help them get the help that they need before they go to a hospital. Like, what the fuck is like the fucking issue? I don't understand. Sorry, I'm cursing more. This is like probably the one podcast I've cursed more. I was trying to like really like limit myself in my other episodes, but like I also sometimes can't help it. Some of the stuff pisses me off. But yeah, so they swore in these people in August, and then they're like, oh yeah, we'll get her in next month. So I was like, okay, cool. At least I have another month of busting my ass trying to prove myself before I'm even a member. So then, you know, the other 4 weeks go by, and I was like very persistent, like I need to be sworn in this month or I'm leaving. And I think they just truly were trying to break me and wanted me to leave. But at that point, I did make some friends with some older members that were like, this is unacceptable behavior. I don't know what their problem is, but we're making sure, like, I know some, like, that you get voted in, like, this month. So I was like, at least if they vote and they all say no, it would be different. But, like, that's not even giving me the opportunity. So finally, they voted me in on September 11th, which was very hard because I was like, I feel like this was wrong. Like, I just was like, okay, like, I don't know if it's an honor to be sworn in as a firefighter, like, member, like, on September 11th, or it just kind of just feels wrong because of the whole severity of the history of everything. But I was like, you know what? I'm being sworn in. I'm going to do my duty as, you know, a firefighter and as a citizen in society, and, you know, try to help anybody I can. The thing that they fucked me over with was that EMT school started in September, right after I got sworn in, and I wasn't allowed to go. I was supposed to, because you need to have the insurance before then. So they fucked me over because they knew I wanted to be an EMT. I expressed it vividly because you have two options. You're either an EMT / paramedic, or you are an ambulance driver. I didn't want to be an ambulance driver because I wanted to be hands-on. No shade to just the people who do ambulance driving. We need them too. It's important. And I was going to be trained in both. Like, there's not a problem with that. It's just that I wanted to be more physically hands-on because I wanted to get that medical training as well as help with the community. So they fucked me over. I couldn't get the insurance until the following month because when I got sworn in, it was a holiday. So I was like, just really like kind of devastated at that point because I'm just like, I can't believe I can't go to EMT school until like January now, or I think it was like January, February. And I was like, I have the free time now. Like, I was going to school full time. I was working 3 jobs, but like at that point, because of me volunteering, I cut one of my jobs so I could volunteer. And then I was like, fuck this, I'm going to get another job again. So I got a 3rd job again. And yeah, so I was like, you know what, it's fine. I'll go to EMT school in January. I'll figure it out, whatever I need to do. But I was super disappointed. And then so the whole month of September, I was basically a probationary member again, before, like, pre-probationary member, because yes, I'm sworn in, but you can't legally do anything on an ambulance except for clean. Unless you have the insurance, which is understandable. You need to have like life insurance. You have to sign a bunch of crazy documents saying that you can get killed on the job and all this stuff. I had to like find, which, you know, like really opened my mind because I never thought, oh yeah, like I need to like leave whatever I have to my family, and like if I'll get life insurance, who's it going to, and all this crazy stuff that I didn't think I needed to make a will. I had to make a will. It's just kind of insane to think about. Just because I want to help people, I'm gonna put my life at risk. I never thought it was really a risky job until I did it, and I was like, oh, people don't want help sometimes, and they want to stab you or shoot you. Which isn't funny. I'm sorry. I laugh when I'm nervous sometimes, so please don't take it as that. But anyways, yeah, so I did all that crazy paperwork, and then it was just a waiting game. And I would go, and I would, even though I technically didn't have any hours I could put in as a medic, I could still be there and clean and do paperwork and train during that time. So I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to study and train so that when I get my insurance for those 4 weeks that I'm waiting for, I'm going to be able to hop on the ambulance right away. Because even though I couldn't go to EMT school, I was legally allowed to be in EMS. So I was just a emergency medical services. Like if I was on an ambulance with an EMT or paramedic, I can assist them. So I can literally do everything an EMT does, just I don't have an EMT certification, and I just had to have someone watch over me. And a lot of people were very nice to allow me to be able to work on patients like without, assistance, but they would just supervise. So that's fine. It's not a big deal. So yeah, I got all my proper training. I was there literally every single day. I stayed like over 4 hours a day. Like I would go from work to school, or school to work, depending on the day. And then I would come straight to the firehouse. Like right after, I would do all my homework for school there for those 4 hours. And then when I finished with my homework, I'd be like eating dinner and studying at the fire department, taking tests and making sure I got all my certifications like that. Practicing on people and dummies, on what to do for car accidents, and just everything that you need to do for training wise. So everyone was like, dude, it's not a big deal you didn't get into EMT school. It's actually great, because if you have all this hands-on experience in the ambulance and you get all your training done, by the time you go to EMT school, you're going to know everything and you're going to pass with like flying colors. It's going to be a breeze. So it's just easier this way anyways. So I was like, all right, cool. So I remember sitting there, it was like a cold fall day in October. I got the email that I got my insurance, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. Like I can actually go on a call. I was so excited. And on that day, we got like a big fire, so big we had to call a few towns for help. And after that, it was a great experience. Not to be excited about a fire, because God, those are so tragic. But as a firefighter, anyone would know when you get that call, it's an exciting moment, because it's like, holy shit, I get to do my job. Like we're going to just do everything we learned, and then we're going to help people, and it's just going to be like, it's just one of those adrenaline rush type of things. And so I was just like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. And then I had to call my captain, because people were like, I don't know if you can come on the ambulance. You literally just got your insurance now. Does it have to take so long in place, whatever? And then we called, everything's fine. I jump on the ambulance. Let's go. We get there. Crazy ass fire. Like literally it was a restaurant, building engulfed in flames. Like you saw this thing and you're like, there's no way this building's going to make it after that. Thankfully, there's no one inside. The restaurant was closed. And basically what happened is someone was smoking a cigarette. They threw it on the floor. They didn't step on it to put it out or anything. The wind picked up, like blew the cigarette like burning in mulch. Mulch is highly flammable. Don't ever get mulch. I know people think mulch is cool because it makes your yard look nice. It's literally engulfed in chemicals, so much so that it's highly flammable. And most fires happen from mulch. And also just like around Christmas time, most fires happen because people have their Christmas trees a little bit too close to their fireplace, and Christmas trees are highly flammable. Also, people forget to water, or just purposely don't water their Christmas trees, so it makes it really dry. And then sometimes there's an electrical fire from the lights, or the lights just overheat and it sparks a fire, and that's also super dangerous. Those were our most fire calls we got. Besides car accidents, that's the other like number 3 thing that we got calls for all the time. But anyways, it was a crazy fire. The firefighters worked hard, and there was this one girl, she busted her ass, and she had issues in the fire department too for just sexism. And that's another topic that was completely horrible with the fire department joining, not just me getting hate from who my aunt was, but also because they were very sexist, racist, and homophobic and prejudice. It was mostly just white people that were there. That, of course, I'm white, I'm Italian, but just I really don't fall into that like visual category of what a white person looks like or acts like. And yeah, so it was like only a few Hispanic people were there, and those Hispanic people were always treated like shit as well as me. There was literally 2 Black people there. I was friends with them all. And I always like try my best to be friends with any demographic of person who is not being treated properly, just because I've dealt with that my whole life. And it's also just like, I think it's like more like a big fuck you to whoever's just shitting on people because they try their best to isolate somebody just for like maybe the way they look, the way that they act, where they're from, what they wear, and stuff like that. And they just really try to make someone feel small and lonely. And I just hate that feeling just because I've experienced that so much in my life. And I always try to reach out to those people and make friends with them because it's not fair and it's not right. And those people deserve just as much love as anybody else. And there's nothing wrong with them. And that would just piss off those people more, which is why people hated me too. Before they didn't have a reason to hate me, then I was giving them reasons to hate me because I was just like, there's no way that people are getting away with sexism, racism, homophobia, like being prejudiced towards people, like, and they were actively, and they still are. So I had a lot of beef for many reasons, and I also just learned a lot being there medically. So it was really just a love-hate relationship. But anyways, this one girl, she was busting her ass. You have to like chop down walls to make sure that the fire wasn't spreading internally, and it was, and the fire was between the walls and it was going to the second floor. The second floor was engulfed, and then they thought that they put the fire out, and then the attic set on fire again. It just kept rekindling and rekindling and rekindling because it was a cool breezy October day, but the air was dry and that place was made out of wood, and it was just fucked from the start, dude. But thankfully nobody got hurt, no firefighters were hurt, but they busted their ass with this one girl. She was in there for hours, and it gives me the chills just thinking about it because she still is like a hero and an icon to me and a legend. And she was in there for hours, and guys would go in and out, literally like groups of guys would go in and out and get tired and just be like just out of breath, and then they'd smoke a cigarette and be more out of breath, and then we're like, hey, you can't smoke a cigarette and go back into a fire, you have to wait 15 minutes because you don't have enough oxygen, there's already too much like carbon, like whatever. And then we have to like babysit them, and we're like, what the fuck are you doing? And then she's in there fucking axing away and axing, and you can see her like, because like chopping down walls, manually busting her back, bro. And she had problems too, literally. Nobody respected her as a woman. I don't know what else happened to her. I hope that nothing bad happened to her, but she was definitely dealing with a lot of sexism in the fire department. But she ended up becoming a captain of one of the fire departments, and I'm so proud of her and that someone finally gave her the chance that she deserved because she worked her ass off to get to that point. And it wasn't fair that people were limiting her. And anyways, as for me and my fire department experience, like I said, the Thursdays we would go there, we would just maintenance everything. They would make it really hard for me, like me and like the Hispanic guy mopping the floors all the time. I went from only doing inventory in the ambulance, I need to learn where everything is, to now that I'm on an ambulance, they would never let me go on it to do inventory and stuff. They would just make me mop the floors and take out the trash all the time. And then I complained about it because under the captain, there's like the engineers, there's 4 engineers, and then there's I think 2 people above the engineers or 1. I don't remember the whole ranking system. It's been a long time. But yeah, so I'm complaining to them, and I'm just like, dude, like, this is not right. You guys are being really prejudiced. Like, it's just me and this guy all the time. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, he comes here every week after his long day at his job, busting his ass, physical labor, and now you're telling him that he has to mop the floors. I'm like, it's not fair. We should be rotating things. Like, it's not fair that we come here every week and I'm just mopping the floors with him. Like, I know I'm a probationary member, but why is it only just the non-looking white people that are doing this? That's fucked up. Well, that just got me more work of that shit. And I was on trash duty forever, infinitely trash duty for that. And I don't know, after that, the beef, it just kept getting worse and worse. But some highlights of my fire department experience. Yes, I helped a lot of people. I'm very grateful for it. And I wouldn't take it back. Like, even though there was so much drama, there was also drama with other girls that were just bitches to me for no reason. Another girl who I was nice to that got bullied, she ended up screwing my boyfriends at the time. I didn't even know about it until like years later, which was one of the main reasons why we fought, because, you know, I had one of those feelings and I was right and he was just gaslighting me. And everybody knew except for me, which was really fucked up. Anyways, the whole fire department experience was crazy. I got some PTSD still from it. I was telling on my Twitch stream the other day, but I'll just tell you guys one story. It may not seem that big of a deal to you guys, but you guys didn't see what I saw. But it just goes to show you how naive some people are in this world still, and make simple mistakes that can be life-changing and can kill people. But so this is in the winter time. There's black ice, there's snow. I don't know what month it was, but we go on this ambulance call. It's late at night, and also we had to do overnights there. So what I would do is, like, from Thursday night, we would do our like 4 hours of cleaning, and then I would volunteer my time. So I'd be like on a shift for 4-hour block. So like I'd be there from 5 p.m. and then I would just do that 4-hour block. And then on Friday night after work and school, I would sleep there. So it'd be like from there from 5 p.m. on Friday all the way till Sunday to Monday at 6 a.m. I would end my shift. So every weekend, that's what I was doing, because I became homeless or unhoused, which is the right way to say it. I don't care. I'm going to say I was homeless because I was without a home during that time, which I'll get back to after this one PTSD call. I'll tell you guys a lot. I'll just go into it. I mean, we have the time. I wanted to talk about other stuff, but we can just make this the fire department episode, since I don't have to go back to it later. But yeah, so the PTSD call was wintertime. This old lady was driving and she had a blanket on her lap, and because she was cold. Valid, right? But it's super dangerous to do, because what happened to her was the blanket dropped off of her lap and she bent down while she was still driving to pick it up. Now, if you are going to do something dangerous and put a blanket on your lap while you're driving, the least you can do is stop the car to a complete stop, put your car in park, emergency brake and hazards, pick up the blanket, and keep driving. No. What she did was bend over while she was driving in a residential neighborhood, and her foot got caught on the gas pedal with the blanket as she was trying to pull it up, and she floored it. She caused an accident for herself and somebody else. So on the other side of this, there was this woman parked in street parking, and her car just got home from work, no seatbelt on, but she's in her vehicle with the vehicle locked, just about to open the door. Think about it. You just came home from work, ready to go home, probably haven't had dinner yet, about to open the door. Okay, this is her position. As this lady's flooring it as fast as possible down the road, because her foot is stuck on the gas with the blanket. So the old lady, this lady's car is parked. The old lady comes flooring it down the street, loses control. Also, she wasn't having her hands on the steering wheel at this point. I don't know why, but yeah, it just happened so fast. She hit the back end of this lady's car, and the old lady's car did a whole flip and slid like over 100 feet down the road, with her upside down still. And then this lady that was in this car parked, had no seatbelt on, and her head went through the windshield of her car. I get to the ambulance call, never seen something like that before in my life. I've seen plenty of accidents on the highway in Florida. It happens so often just because people are just so reckless with their driving, but nothing like that. We didn't know what we expected. When someone called the ambulance, they just said there was an accident with a parked car. Nobody knew there was a person in the parked car. We just knew there was an old lady. So because that lady's car it was hit in the back left corner, but it also hit her into the side of her car too. Because it wasn't just that before she flipped, it was like, you know, like one of those things. We had to use like the jaws of life to get her out of her car, but we also had to use the jaws of life to get the other lady. And we didn't even know if she was alive because her car was crushed because she flipped it upside down. But with that speed and going 100 feet down the road, her car went from normal sized car to like this. And you couldn't even see, like the whole roof of her car was dented in all the way. So if she was sitting there with her head perfectly like this, she wouldn't have a head. So we were like, we didn't know if she was going to be decapitated or if she was going to be alive. It was very much, we don't know the situation. So we got to the call. We knew it was a car accident. So usually like procedure is cops get there first. And even though it's a timely thing, we all get there at the same time. They have to take command of the scene first, and then the firefighters, and then the ambulances, which in my opinion, it delays the process of getting the help that you need. Unfortunately, I complained about that a lot. If the cops are going to show up there, they need to be doing CPR and helping instead of just standing there and waiting for us to show up, or else the medics should have scene command before them. It's just, I'm sorry, but like, they should not be useless. They're trained in CPR, they're trained in first aid. They should be doing what they need to be doing instead of standing there waiting for us to show up. If we have to delay our response time for them to get there on scene first, just because it's the legal way of doing things. Anyways, we had to call for more ambulances because we didn't know how many people were involved. And we saw the lady, when we got to the scene, then we saw the other car. So we were split with one ambulance. I'm just a medic. I was on the call with a paramedic in training. He was going to school to be a paramedic, but had EMT license. And then we have our ambulance driver the ambulance driver is basically trained the same way as us, but like some of them are just kind of like older. More of the ambulance drivers are just not really as involved in like the medic side of things, even though they're trained and they can help. So we had to get another ambulance there. We had to get scene command. It was so big that we couldn't touch anything yet as medics. We couldn't act because the fire department had to make sure that her car wasn't going to explode or set on fire, because the car was still running, and it was still in drive upside down. So they had to get another call for the fire department to come. We had to block off the road. And this woman's family that we didn't even know until we saw the car crushed. She's in her car fucked up, and she's right outside her door. They didn't know what was going on until they heard all the sirens. And we had to get her out of the car. Anyways, not to get into too much details, it was just something that really just traumatized me. It took like so many hours to get these people out of their vehicles. Both of them, all in all, came out alive. I don't know what happened to them afterwards. I just know that I wasn't with the old woman on that ambulance. They took her on a different one. We took the other lady that was in her car. Her head was open wounds because her head went through the glass windshield. She cracked her windshield with her head. And I remember going in there and I was like, yeah, like we called them before. We have to give updates to the hospital, like our ETA and stuff. And we were like, yeah, head trauma, like she was in an accident. And they're like, well, which patient is this? Like, is she the one, like, is she the old lady? Like, or is she like the head trauma? And we're like, they're both fucked up. Like, we don't know what the fuck. Like, they both have C collars. We're lucky they both got out alive. we're trying to figure it out. Like their hearts are, all we could do is literally administer, you know, the ambulance is the first response, but we can only do so much. Slap on some patches to make sure their heart rate are good, take their breaths, make sure that's fine. You know, if they have broken bones, we can stabilize it, give them an IV if necessary, give them painkillers if it's necessary. We can only do so much, you know? So we're just like, put them in C-collar, get them there as fast as possible, take heart rate, take breath, make sure her breaths aren't shallow, make sure she doesn't have any internal bleeding, do a full assessment over and over and over again until we get to the hospital that's like 18 minutes away. It's just to make sure that that's not happening. And yeah, I just remember them going there and then they didn't treat her as a priority. Like we brushed her there after taking like so long to get her out the car. And then they're like, all right, put her over there. Even though they had the trauma unit standing by, I don't know. It just, a lot of things of that like traumatized me. I prayed for them so much. I still hope that they're okay. I don't know what happened after that. I wish, like, that's the worst thing about being a medic is, and I'm sure other firefighters or people that are EMTs, EMS, paramedics, whatever fields, even doctors, at least doctors, actually, it's different. Doctors can actually call their patients and be like, hey, how's it going? Are you okay? Like afterwards. But for EMTs and firefighters, you're not allowed to do that. Which I understand why, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's one of those things that it leaves you like an emptiness that you're just like hopeful and wishful and, you know, that everything is okay that you did. And then it makes you wonder, it's like, did I do everything that I needed to do? Did I act fast enough? Could I have done anything different? Because you just want to make sure that you are the first responder. You're literally there before a doctor can, and that can save a life. And it changes within minutes, especially if you have a heart attack patient, especially if you're having someone that's having a stroke, which we had, like, especially someone who has a stab wound. Like, we had so many things that happened. And of course, you know, they're going in there fine, like, and you did the best that you can do. But the only thing you have left with yourself after all that adrenaline rush and all of that you did is just, now you clean the ambulance from top to bottom, you restock your supplies, and you go back and you clock out. And then it's like, okay, now you have to go to bed. I couldn't go to bed after that. I literally didn't sleep for days. I don't know, like, I was so traumatized. I literally, that was like, I think like part of the weekend shift that I took. I had work and school still. I went to school and work. I just kept having coffee and coffee and coffee. Like, I would drink like 8 cups of coffee a day and tea. And then what they had, which was great, which wasn't good at my college, which I think should be illegal. They had those like Starbucks Nitro cold brews before they had them in person. It was in a can and it was like crack, dude. Those were addicting. And I would just be living off those. And I basically gave myself heart problems for a while because I would get chest pains so much and I didn't know what was going on. I had to go to cardiologist and do a bunch of testing. But anyways, yeah, I was traumatized from that just because I was like seeing the accident, seeing the response time, like how so many factors could change an accident. Number one, response time of, I just saw an accident, I need help. Yes, that's great, but also look around, see what else is happening. Because if you can help out in another way of saying, oh my God, there's 2 car accidents, like that would have made a difference because the response time would have been faster for the other ambulance to have more hands to help more people. The other thing is the response time with the issue with whose scene command is it? What the fuck? Like the cops being on their fucking high horse and having to take scene command before the fire department, before the medics. Fuck off. Like, that needs to be changed. Them just standing there and doing nothing, at least if you're going to be first on command and scene, fucking do something. Put a seat collar on them. They could have told us. They could have told us they needed another fucking ambulance. Like, I don't know, that pisses me off. The the other thing is the hospital. I didn't know how bad emergency rooms and hospitals were until how many times I had to bring a patient there with stroke symptoms and heart attack symptoms. And we're waiting for a nurse to come because we have to sign them off to a nurse and give them, you know, all of their stats on what happens and everything before, and we can discharge them and leave. And there's no nurse to be found. Like, and it's like, oh, sorry, we're busy. And it's like, dude's having a heart attack right now. Can you please put him in a crash cart and get him ready? That used to piss me off. So it just also depends on the hospital. I think you just have to look at hospital reviews if there's ever an emergency. And the emergencies I've had, I delayed my own care because I was like, I don't want to go to this specific hospital because I went there so many times and they just left patients on the hallway while they're literally needing help. That and just just basically how people act. I think just so many things. But anyways, I was traumatized because of the accident, man. I was just thinking, like, that could have been me. That could have been anybody. You're just sitting in your car at a late night. It's probably 10 o'clock at night. I know it was pitch black out. Maybe it was 9. It was pitch black out, and you're just getting home from a long day of work. You want to get home to your family and have dinner, and you just literally have your head through a windshield now. I was so scared to drive after that. I was so careful. I didn't want to drive, and you know, I called my mom afterwards. I was having a panic attack, and she thought something happened to me, and I was like, nothing happened to me. It just happened to them. And then she's like, it's okay. Like, it didn't happen to you. Like, but just seeing it all, I was like, after everything, after the adrenaline rush dies, and because like when you're in that mode and you're a medic, it's your life is not a priority. Their life is, right? You're not thinking about, do I need water? Do I need food? Like, did I just cut myself with a needle that like I just tested them for like diabetes with or something or whatever it is? Like, you know, you're just thinking, okay, I'm gloved up, I'm ready to go, change gloves as much as possible, and you know, all that stuff. So then like after the call ends and everything dies down and all the noise dies down and everything, you're just left with yourself. Then you're left with all your thoughts, which is the hardest part probably of the job besides doing it. But like I know now that if I'm in my car and I'm parked, I'm always having my seatbelt on. I'm always aware of my surroundings. I'm always looking at license plates now around me. Just like if anyone's in front of me, behind me, if I can see a license plate, I'm remembering, okay, what color is that vehicle? What brand is that vehicle? And what's their license plate number? Because that's the main thing in accidents or any like legal situation you need to know for people to know when you call 911. And it did help me because I did get into an accident. It wasn't my fault because I was sitting in my parked car and I got hit on the side. The woman was texting and driving, and luckily I had my seatbelt on. I wasn't jolted too much. She wasn't going too fast. But she was texting and driving and hit my car and 2 other cars that were parked before I was going into my dentist appointment. That was like a year later. And she would hit and run me. I got the make and model of her vehicle, the color, and the license plate number. I called the cops. And the cops are like, I chased her down the road. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You just hit my car or whatever. And then she sped off. And then I called the cops. They showed up. They're like, well, she didn't really do that much damage to your car. And I was like, she literally hit me while I was in it. Another thing about cops. They try to say that just like to like not write a report because it was a hit and run. But I was like, I have the make and model of her car and I know her license plate number. And then the guy's like, oh, really? Oh, really? You really have that? Just go into your dentist appointment and then call us back later. And I was like, you know what? I went into the dentist. I asked if they had security footage because they have cameras outside and they are fake. And I was like, great, you guys are good for nothing. But then I called the police chief and I was like, I have this piece of shit guy here who's a cop who doesn't want to believe me and says that they don't want to write a report because it's just a scratch. And this woman was texting and driving and I saw her do it and I honked my horn and everything and she hit me and drove off. So I called the police chief. He came down. He was pissed off. I gave him the make and model of the car and everything. And they found out who it was. And she didn't even have an address. Apparently, she had an address that was linked to a P.O. box. And I was like, how is that even legal? Like, how can you have a P.O. box as your address? So they just had her name in the P.O. box and they couldn't press charges or anything. So I was like, that's fucked up that people can do this and get away with it. And mind you, I was okay, thank God. But maybe the next person wouldn't be. Like, if someone was standing outside the car, even me, if I would have opened my car door right there, she could have killed me. Or even ran me over, I would have been fine. She could have killed anybody. Like, walking down the street, you're texting and driving. What the hell? Anyways, yes, the fire department changed my life. I can't say for the good or for the worse. It just changed my life, period. There was so much drama, like I mentioned before, with other members of the fire department. A lot of things that happened between people that, like I said, were racist, homophobic, prejudiced, just evil people that were there. And then it was also like a game of, like I said, like they were making it difficult for me to do things, to get the EMT school. So like by the time that, you know, wintertime came and passed, it was like around May. It was around May time because around the holiday for Memorial Day weekend, they do a parade. So you can march in the parade. And I was like, yeah, I can finally march in the parade. I'm excited about it. Around then, I started to get finals for my college. And they said, and mind you, like the demographics had changed a bit with who was in charge, because one of the members that used to be there came back. He was in the military, but he was an asshole. He just took charge like he was like one of the members, like that was in charge, like an engineer or like the higher ups, even though he wasn't. And the captain was just a shitty captain and just didn't want to be a captain. And I don't know how he got voted in, but he did, and he didn't do shit. Like, he wasn't an active member in the fire department. Like, he was not physically doing anything. He would just like show up, use the company vehicle, make sure everything was running, and leave, which I think is really disgraceful as a captain in any fire department or any job that's helping save lives, that you're just not involved with your members. You're letting things happen like this. You're not taking accountability, and you're not helping people with anything. So around that time, I forgot to mention, around January, around that time, so you had to, let me backtrack. Like I said, you had to be going, let me get water. Hold on. I'm going too fast. I need water. Sorry. I have like a cough drop that I'm going to put in my mouth too. My mouth just feels so dry. And I realize I've been yapping for over an hour now. We're over our hour mark again, chat. I apologize. This is never going to be an hour podcast until it is. Okay. Anyways. They made it super difficult for me to train to become an EMT. So I had my EMT, my EMS learning, and then by the winter time I was supposed to be able to join the EMT school. But by then, so much has happened from the span of me as a joining member in June, technically, when I first started showing up there with all the drama and stuff, and to all the ambulance calls that I went on, to the drama within the fire department, within the racism, sexism, homophobia, prejudice stuff going on between me and other members, to me wanting to learn. In the meantime, I could learn to be an ambulance driver, because I might as well do that in my free time. And it's good to have that under my belt before I go to EMT school. The other issue that I'll talk to you guys about, this is the issue, that two issues that made me quit. that are very serious issues. After putting in hundreds of hours, every month it was required, I think, that you had to have 40 hours total. It could be an hour a day. So if you do like an hour a day, that would be 30. If there's 30 days in a month, that's 30 hours. So if you do, an hour and 30 minutes, it would be over the amount of time you need. But if the Thursdays are required are 2 hours, I think minimum, or 4 hours if you want to do more or something, whatever, it just all adds up. But I was doing way more. I was doing like 150 hours a month, basically. So I did EVOC training and PESH training to do the ambulance driving, and it's online courses. And what's stupid is because when I wasn't a member, they would do meetings of the PESH training for everybody for the summertime. If you show up there for 4 hours, you sit in a big group class, and we all get PESH certified by listening to the online course, and you get signed off on it. And every week I would sign my name that I would go, I think it was more than one time a week, and I thought it would count towards my PESH training. But they fucked me over with that too, because they said that my PESH training was invalid because when I was doing those courses, I was not an active member because I wasn't officially sworn in member. So I had to redo them. And I had to do it in my free time, which I barely had because I was giving my life to 3 jobs and school and the fire department. But I wasn't just like showing up after I became an active member. I had no more training. So it's not like you had the free time in the fire department, because every time you would show up, there was a call. That's why they also called me the Black Cloud, because every time I showed up, there was a crazy ass call. There was never like one of those, oh, it's a simple, this guy doesn't feel well, he needs an ambulance ride to the hospital, it's just a scrape on the leg. Not it wasn't one of those things. It was always like, oh, the house is on fire, and it's not just any fire. You need 3 towns over to come put this out. And it's like, we had this one call for a nursing home that had a few thousand residents in it. And, that was over 7 hours of a fire. And it was because someone plugged in something wrong into the outlet behind the guy's bed that was only meant for an oxygen machine or something. And this guy's oxygen machine fried his lungs. It literally had an electrical fire, and he had burnt marks, and the plastic started to melt under his nose because he had the nasal cannulas. He was our patient priority number 1 out of everybody. We were the first responding ambulance. And everybody else, we had to evacuate in groups after we got him on the ambulance. So basically, we had so many people show up that after we got him on the ambulance, we were just sending the ambulances out. We were just like, all right, the main people who showed up first, we just stayed behind to help evacuate and make sure patients were okay. And everybody else were just like, all right, take them out, help with other things, whatever. And anyways, so much had happened in the meantime between that time period of me joining in June to the time I could be eligible for EMT school. But I was like, I don't even want to join EMT school because I don't even know if I'm going to stay in the fire department anymore. Because at that point I was like, what happened was I did all of the ambulance training, and I was like, hey, Captain, I did my ambulance training. You have to basically drive the actual ambulance so many times. He has to be in the car. He has to check all these boxes to make sure you do all these things. You have to also pass the test for all the fire signals. You have to learn all the horns. You have to learn all the different fire tones. You have to know all the different commands you have to give to FireCom. And back to your, you have to be able to talk to the 911 and talk to firefighters. There's 2 different codes basically, and all these different things, the map of where the distances of where the cutoff line is in the town of where's our perimeter of where we can work, and when are you allowed to use the lights and sirens, when are you not allowed to use it, all these technical things with ambulance. And every time I would schedule him to try to do something, he said no and kept making an excuse, kept making an excuse, kept making an excuse. And mind you, there was other members that were trying to get like the official ambulance training with him to get that paper signed off, and he let them do it. And instead of him doing like a group class, he could have been like, all right, let's take turns. Like I took driver's ed. Let's all ride together. They pass the test. Okay, next. I'm so sorry. That's my lunch alarm. They pass the test. Okay, next person. Like he could have done it all on one day and been like, all right, Saturday the 31st or whatever day it is, the 30th. Like, and like he could just been like, okay, we're all doing this together. Nope. He didn't do that. He took favoritism. He took other people as a priority. He still hated me because of who my aunt was. It made it super difficult for me to succeed there. With all that drama, I was like, you know what? I've helped a lot of people. I don't know if this is for me, but you know what? I'm not going to do EMT school now. I'll do it in September if I think I'm going to stay. All right, fast forward a few more months, went through a bunch of more shit, much more traumatizing calls, whatever. And okay, so we go on this call. It's around finals. So this is the issue. It's all around May when we're going to have Memorial Day marching, and then May I have finals, and then we had a bunch of calls, right? So this is what happened. I don't remember what day of the week it was, but it was around the time that was the same. So I remember that finals were happening, and there was two issues that happened. So I signed up to be on call for like a 4-hour block. Let's say it was from 5 to 9, or I think it's like 5:30 to 9:30. I don't remember the specifics. So 4-hour block, and I wanted to be home by like 9:30, 10 latest. Well, what happens is even if you sign up for a 4-hour block, of course, if there's another call in between that line of a new crew showing up to the fire department, you are still first out because you're on that call. You're going out because you're in ambulance number 1. Unless you physically went all the way back to the station, got off of the ambulance, you signed out, the crew was there ready, they can take over. So we had a crazy call. And then we send the guy to the hospital. He's there, he gets signed off, and then as we're leaving to go back to the firehouse, we get another call. And at that point, it was already past my shift time. I didn't say anything. I didn't complain. I just knew, okay, every call is about an hour long or so. And I wanted to go home after that. Mind you, on those 3 calls we went on back to back, we have the same set of cops that are coming on these calls because they're also doing night shift with us. So basically, not like they're specifically assigned to the ambulance, but they kind of are because we're all going on the same calls. They're first responding. If we're in the same area, they're going to the same area too. It's the same distance. They don't follow us to the hospital, but still. So there's this one guy that was a cop, and I barely, on a professional level, I only spoke to him when it was necessary. Like, they are first in command. They show up on scene. They evaluate the situation. They write on their little notepad, 82-year-old man, white. This is the address. Like, literally basic things. If they see something visual happen, they write it down. And usually they're like I said, I think they should be taking a pulse. They should be at least taking a breath, like, to see what's happening. Like, they're trained for that. They're not doing anything except for sitting there like this, waiting for us to show up with their little notepad while someone's over there fucking dying. So yeah, so there's the same set of cops. So you guys have that background information. We go on the second call, and the cops ran out of gloves, and we have cargo pants. We have like to put other stuff in it, but because I had the fish allergy, I had my EpiPens on me always, because just in case one of those patients had fish, I had to be careful. But I also have my inhaler because I have asthma. I always had one pocket full of gloves because we changed our gloves. Like anytime you touch one thing, glove change, touch another thing, glove change. And it's important because you don't want to cross-contaminate anything for the patient or for your own equipment and for yourself. And you got to make sure your gloves aren't ripped, always clean, whatever, which is fine. I always kept extra gloves. And another pocket, I kept masks because we've had some patients that were hoarders or homeless patients that are just really stinky. Sometimes you need to put a mask on. Sometimes they had upper respiratory issues. You don't want to catch anything that they have. Okay. So I had a couple of different things in my pockets. Second call we get onto, the cop was like, oh man, I ran out of gloves, basically. And they're supposed to wear gloves too, because I think they're supposed to actually fucking do something and they don't. They just wear it when they go on call. They're supposed to help us. Sometimes they help us pick up a patient if they're too heavy, but like really they kind of step out. And I remember him complaining and he's like, oh, like, can you go back to the ambulance and get me gloves? As I'm trying to fucking help a patient and he's just standing there complaining he doesn't have gloves. This is the situation of the call. This lady calls 911 because her house is getting broken into. Now this happened to me too. So I know the cops suck here. She's calling the cops because her house is getting broken into. And the cops are like, you're fine, lady. There's nothing wrong. And she's like, no, my house is getting broken into. Someone's banging on the door, jingling the door. The cops are like, dude, it's fine. Don't worry about it. The cops show up. They leave. They're like, she's drunk. She's probably on pills. Don't worry about it. Well, what happened is someone was still trying to break into her house. She got out a kitchen knife to defend herself, and she called the cops and is like, someone's breaking in my house. I don't care what I have to do to protect myself, and stabs her own hand and slight big gash in her hand. But we didn't know that. So then she calls 911 again, and they think like, all right, lady, you're fucking crazy. And they keep dismissing her, even though this is something fucking serious. And this is, mind you, this is what's happening before we show up, while I was on the ambulance call beforehand that I don't remember what it was. This lady is going through this shit, and we show up and she's complaining that she got hurt, and now they're taking it serious, like, oh shit, maybe someone actually did break in. They're trying to complain to us saying, oh, we did surveillance, we looked around, no one was breaking in, she's fucking crazy. And we show up, there's blood everywhere. Literally, you don't even know where it's coming from. So we're like, did she stab somebody? Did she stab herself? Because she wasn't complaining that she got hurt, but I don't know what she said in the 911 call that like made us come back, that made us come there. I don't know if she said that she got stabbed or whatever, but I think they were trying to treat her as a suicide patient, and they were trying to 5150 her just because she was drunk and trying to defend herself. And so there's blood everywhere, and we had to find out where it was coming from. So the guy was like, oh, I need more gloves, and was complaining and told me to go back to the ambulance to get gloves. I said, I said, I have gloves, don't worry about it. And I throw him my gloves from my pocket that are clean. And I was like, here you go. And so we had to change her gloves so much because there was so much blood. We didn't know where it was coming from. And mind you, she's freaking out. It's not like she's like, oh, there's blood. It was like she has a knife in her hand and she's pacing back and forth, drunk, wine on the floor, broken glass everywhere. And she, I think, dropped a wine glass in the process of her house getting broken into because she was scared. And now it's like, oh, calm down and put the knife down, de-escalate the situation. The cops are like, oh, we're scared, we're gonna get stabbed. And we're like, just fucking chill. They want to detain her and put her in handcuffs while we figure out where the blood's coming from. And I'm like, are you guys fucking stupid? She clearly cut herself and there's just blood all over the house. We can't figure it out. So we finally get her to put down the knife. And then the cops take it away from her and they put it in the sink. And then the whole time she's like, where's my knife? Where's my knife? And freaking out. We're like, it's okay, ma'am. Just tell us what happened. Is this your blood? Are you okay? Did you get hurt? Like, please tell us what's going on. You know, as we're trying to assess her as she's pacing back and forth, whatever, and she's screaming about her house getting broken into. And I told the cops to stop fucking around and go check her fucking house to see if there's somebody upstairs. Like, someone broke into her house, do a fucking perimeter check. And they're like, oh, there was cops here earlier, and they looked around and there was nothing. I said, well, there's clearly blood everywhere. We don't know where it's coming from. But when she finally got the knife out of her hand, then we noticed big gash here. That's where the blood was coming from. But the blood was all over her body, like all over her house, all over the floor, whatever. So we're like, okay, great. Because she was holding on to it, it also kind of cauterized it a bit. But when she let go, that's when it started squirting everywhere. And so we're like, all right, we need to put pressure on this. Let's try to clean you up, like whatever, and then tell us what happened. All right, so we take her back to the hospital. And then, you know, everything's fine. Not really, because the cops should have fucking did their job. They said she didn't get her house broken into, and she clearly did. Even if they didn't enter, someone was jiggling the handle and freaking her out. Like, I don't understand why they wouldn't fucking believe her. But, anyways, they okay, we take her to the, sorry, I had to recount my thoughts. We take her to the ambulance. And then at that point, I was like, I need to go home. Like, it's at that point, I think it was like, I don't know, 11, because that call took way more than an hour. I think it was like 11 something. And I was like, yeah, like, after we drop her off and we're cleaning the ambulance because there's blood everywhere, I was like, I need to go home. Like, this is past my shift duty. And I was like, where's the other shift? And they're like, oh, they're back at the thing. And I said, well, why didn't they come meet us on call to like relieve us? Because we were there for like over an hour, and they could have taken over and at least brought her to the hospital. And they're like, oh, well, they figured we didn't call for backup, so they didn't need to come. Okay, well, I was like, all right, can you please drop me off? All right, fine. As they're on their way to go back to the hospital, as we're on our way to go back to the what's it called, the fire department, sorry, I can't find my words, go back to the fire department, we get another call that's like literally, like, let's say the fire department's here, there's a call like right here, and then the hospital's back there, so we have to pass by it to get to the call. So they're like, sorry, we can't take you back. And I was like, I understand. I didn't make a big deal about it. Like, I just knew I was tired. I had finals coming up the next day, whatever. And I was pissed off at the second crew. Like, they were supposed to take over and they didn't. And they should have. We shouldn't have been first responding still. And they could have done something. So now they're getting the points for sitting back, relaxing, watching TV on their shift while we're on our shift that we were supposed to be done with 4 hours ago. And I'm fucking tired. We didn't have dinner, mind you. I had to pee. Like, we're just holding in all of our normal human functions. We got a call for a homeless man who was being rowdy. He was drunk. He's our local homeless drunk guy. And we've picked him up on the ambulance many times before. You have to wear full suit up for scabies, and he sexually harasses me on this call. And then I lost it because I'm like, he smacks my ass or sexually assaults me first. He sexually harassed me and then smacks my ass, and then the cops had to get involved and handcuff him. I didn't press charges or anything like that, but he, like, this was before we even bring him to the hospital, fully assessing him on the ambulance, because we're assessing what the hell is going on. But it was basically just him being rowdy at the train station, and then people are complaining, oh, there's a homeless guy at the train station, call the cops. Well, then I have to deal with this. So now we bring him back to the hospital, and I'm fucking livid because now this happens to me, and I'm upset because it's unacceptable behavior from anybody. even if you're dealing with mental illness and you're homeless, it doesn't matter. Like, what the actual fuck? But then the same cops that were from the last two calls are there. And that same call, I'm getting sexually harassed. This guy, that's the cop, I think, was hitting on me and asking like what I was doing after. And I didn't pick up on it because we're in the middle of dealing with this. And I was like, I'm going to home to sleep. I'm tired. And so I'm like, all right, I don't care what happens in the next 10 minutes of us driving back from the hospital to the firehouse. You're leaving me on the side of the road if there's another call, and I'm getting a taxi and going home. Because after all of that, it was probably like 12:30, 1 in the morning. And I was fucking fuming because, number one, I didn't eat. I'm tired. We had a long day. We had all these calls that it's just a lot to take in. And then on top of that, what just happened with the homeless guy, I'm just like, are you fucking serious now? I'm pissed off. I just want to go home and sleep. And I have a final in the morning. And this is what I have to deal with. The story gets better. Or it gets worse, really, for me. So then they finally bring me back to the firehouse, and there was another call. I told off the 4 members that were there. I was like, it's unacceptable behavior. Like, you guys are just sitting here. We needed relief hours ago. Like, you didn't give it to us. Like, you guys are breaking protocol, whatever. It's not okay. I only signed up for a 4-hour shift. You guys know that. That's why you guys are covering, and you guys are letting this happen, whatever. Now I'm dealing with this. It's fucked up, whatever. And then I'm in the parking lot to go to my car, and the cop is there that was trying to hit on me, I think, at that time. I didn't pick it up. And he's getting changed in the parking lot, which isn't uncommon. Like, a lot of the cops who are changing shifts do that, but I just didn't think of anything of it. And he's just trying to talk to me. And then I was just like, all right, I gotta go, bye. So I literally got in my car and started leaving, and it's pitch black. I'm fucking out of it. I'm tired, whatever. And he is following me in the cop cruiser with no lights on. And I didn't know. He followed me home. And I get out of my car, and he starts putting on the lights. I parked in the driveway. He starts putting on the lights and the sirens. And I was like, holy shit, like, am I getting, like, did I get pulled over? Did I drive stupid? I'm tired, like, whatever. And it's fucking him. I go up to the car, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? Like, my grandpa's asleep right now. It's like 1 in the morning. Like, why would you put on like sirens and lights? Like, did I do something wrong? Like, on my drive home? And he's like, oh no, haha, sorry about that. Like, I just wanted to take you out sometime. Like, let's go to a bar, like, whatever. And I was like, dude, no, I told you, like, I was like, no, I have a boyfriend. And I was like, and besides the fact, everything that I just went through, and now you're just hitting on me, like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I lean into at that point, I didn't pay attention to him. I just know that he's a bald-headed cop. I didn't really like looking on his face, like, who he was, because every situation we were in is patient focused. And I leaned in to see, like, on his bulletproof vest, to see what his name is, because I was like gonna fucking report him for like harassing me and following me home with no lights on, like no headlights, like a fucking stalker, knowing where I live now, and then trying to ask me out. And then as soon as I looked in to see his patch, he pulled off, because it's Velcro, he pulled it off his chest. So I was like fucking livid. I said, you need to fucking leave. I'm calling the cops. Like, I don't give a fuck who you are. Get off my property. Like, get out of here. So he speeds off in a hurry. I go inside, and my grandpa's cunt girlfriend, who treats me like shit, is inside watching TV on the couch. mind you, I have finals coming up. And I'm just like, hey, I need to go to sleep. And I was living on the couch at that time for other circumstances because the basement had mold and I couldn't breathe because of my asthma and stuff. And, you know, she was like, oh, I'm watching a movie right now. I'm almost done. And there's a TV in every room in the house. She has a TV in her room. She has a TV in the kitchen. She could have went anywhere. And then I get changed. I take a shower. I eat. You know, I'm trying to get to sleep. And then I was like, hey, I need to go to sleep. And she's like, yeah, the movie's almost done. I was like, no, I need to go to sleep now. Like, I have a final tomorrow. I was like, can you just please like watch this somewhere else? Like, and she loses her fucking mind. She literally loses her fucking mind, throws a temper tantrum, slams everything, throws her glass in the sink so hard it almost broke. I'm surprised it didn't. Stomped up the stairs, starts screaming at my grandfather. Oh, she's so fucking disrespectful. She can't talk to me that way. I don't want her here anymore, blah, blah, blah. My grandpa comes downstairs. Mind you, I just asked her, please, I need to go to sleep on the couch. She wasn't watching a movie that was only on TV for the first time ever. It was on DVR recorded. And then she just fucking lost her mind. My grandpa woke up, starts yelling at me. He came down the stairs, starts screaming at me, telling me I'm disrespectful. I can't talk to her that way. I needed to leave. Kicks me out the house. He didn't even give me a chance to explain myself. And every time I tried, he said that he didn't want to hear it. I'm profusely crying, like can't breathe because this is like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is what's happening. And like, I'm like, fine, I'm leaving. I pack up a bag. I come back upstairs. And then my great aunt that I live with comes out now that after everyone's yelling with commotion. And she wakes up and is like, what's going on? And I explain the situation. And as I'm trying to explain the situation, you know, now I'm starting to tell off my grandfather. Before I'm trying to be respectful to him. Then I was telling him that he needed to stop talking so I can tell my story. You don't even let me tell a story. Then I tell the story and he's like, oh, well, why didn't you say that? That's not what happened. Why didn't you tell me that? And I said, because you're listening to your fucking bitch girlfriend instead of your own granddaughter. And, you know, she thinks she has the right to talk to me this way. And I'm trying to be respectful to her. And I basically just went off. So then he's apologizing now, saying, no, it's okay. You don't have to leave. And I'm just like, I'm gone. And then I leave. So I, now homeless, had nowhere to go. I just left the fire department because all that shift, they already have a night shift. I can't stay there. So I drive to my ex-boyfriend's house and call him and he's sleeping. And I slept in my car that night and I failed my test for finals. But yeah, so that that lasted for a few months where I was sleeping in my car and kind of living at his house. And then I lived at the firehouse for a little bit, but not really because I quit not long after that. That was really hard. Sorry, I'm trying not to cry. It's still hard to talk about. And yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I quit, because you know, I complained to the police department about this guy because I didn't know his name. I think it was like Alvarez or something. I don't remember his name. I don't remember his first name. I know his face though. And, you know, him harassing me and following me home, especially right after being sexually harassed and assaulted by one of my calls beforehand, and then dealing with that. Like, me reporting it to the firehouse and nothing happening, I was like, all right, I'm done. Like, mentally, I'm done. But I'm thinking I still want to help people. I'm not thinking about myself and my needs. But at the same time that this all happened was around the time of the Memorial Day weekend. I keep bringing it up because that's like a good timeline of it. And also what happened in preparation of Memorial Day weekend, the first 4 Saturdays of May or maybe it's the 3, I don't know. You need to do Saturday hours required, like we would do required for Thursdays, but it's for 4 hours instead of 2. And I couldn't do that because I was working 3 jobs and going to school full time. And I was like, if I'm giving my day on a Saturday to do an ambulance call, that's different than, and like me spending the night there, that's different than me cleaning the entire firehouse. Because they want you to clean all the ambulances, all the fire trucks. Just literally, it's just cleaning and cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And mind you, I'm the only one that's fucking cleaning everything because of them being prejudiced and piece of shit to me this whole time. So I knew that I was going to be treated worse out of everybody. And that new guy, who was a new old guy, was the one that was in charge instead of the captain, because the captain basically stepped out and, you know, breaking protocol or whatever. And I was talking to him and I was like, well, I can't do that. And he's like, well, it's required and you're a probationary member and you're required to do it. So you have to do it. So, and I was like, but I have a job. I can't do that. I'm also like scheduled for my job and I'm also like studying for finals right now. He's like, I don't know what to tell you. This is what's required. If you can't do that, you're going to be kicked out. And I was like, all right, so I quit. And then he's like, oh no, like, don't quit. Like, you know, we need members, whatever. And I was like, clearly not enough if you're going to treat us like this. And he's like, oh, well, if it's a problem, you can just take like time off for a few months and then make up the hours. I said, what do you mean make up the hours? I didn't know you could make up hours. And he's like, yeah, if you make up hours, it's like the same hour time slot that's required for those points. You have to have like a higher up member, like an engineer or the captain, sit with you on a Saturday doing the same duties that you would have done, but by yourself instead of with the whole firehouse. And then they have to sign a piece of paper saying that you did those hours, and then those points will count so you don't get kicked out. And then I was like, fuck that. Me being by myself cleaning the whole firehouse, like, this is literally hazing. Like, this is unreal. Like, I understand making up those 4 hours in a different way, but cleaning the firehouse, like, top to bottom, like, that's actually insane. Like, you're abusing voluntary members that they can actually afford a cleaning crew. They don't need me to be washing the ambulance and then making sure I'm buffing out everything to make it perfect and then cleaning and mopping the floors inside, making the beds and doing the laundry. Like, are you serious? So then I was like, no, I quit. And they're like, no, don't quit, because all those hours you put in so many hours, like, you can be eligible for the retirement and going to go to college for free. You know, you're almost been in here for a year. And I was like, yeah, I would actually be here for a year next month if you guys actually signed me in and swore me in June. But instead, you guys swore me in September. So even though I have been here for a year almost, it doesn't fucking count. So I was like, it's not going to count anyways. And then what? If I take those few months off, does that count into my 1 year membership? And they're like, no, you'd have to make up those. So I'm like, so yeah, I'm going to have to wait until another 4 months or whatever. And I was like, fuck that, I quit. And they're like, oh, if you quit, you're not gonna get those hours back if you rejoin. I said, don't worry about it, I'm not fucking rejoining, fuck you all. And quit because of those hours I needed to do, but also because they didn't do anything about that cop. Because I was like, I don't want that cop on any calls with me anymore. He fucking stalked me and followed me home. The cops didn't do anything, they didn't take any action against him. And I got kicked out of my fucking house. I'm homeless now. I'm dealing with that. And as well as going to school and working full time. And just all of those things combined at once. So I never got to march for my Memorial Day parade, unfortunately. But I did gain some experience for a lifetime for sure. Was all that experience good? No. Was it memorable? Yeah, for sure. Do I have so many more stories? Yes. But yeah, that's just my fire department experience. I can't believe I've been talking about this for almost 2 hours. I really thought I was just going to just give you a little brief summary of it, but kind of gave you like a good summary of the whole thing. So I guess you guys can take from it what you will, if anything. I'm thankful that I did help the people I did. I always prayed over them. I still do. I really hope that anybody who is becoming a firefighter or medic doesn't get discouraged by this, or anybody in the medical career. Like, it's hard. People deal with this every single day. Is it okay? No. But things need to change. Things only change if you speak up. But sometimes if you speak up, people still don't do anything about it. But just don't give up. With me, with all the stuff that happened in my outside life and in the fire department, for me, it was just not worth it to keep pursuing, trying to fight them on everything. What I can say I did do really well that was hard to even get implemented was we had a really big overdose, a lot with fentanyl, but opioid overdose. And it was so bad that they were like giving out classes for free with the New York State government. They're like, if you take the class, you get a free opioid Narcan kit and you get to carry it around. And if you see somebody on the street and they're non-responsive, hit them with the Narcan because it saves a life faster than the ambulance can get there, and hit them with it. Well, as an EMS member, I wasn't the only one who wasn't EMT certified. There was many members who weren't either. And I was like, why can't we use Narcan? And they're like, oh, because it's a liability. You're not an EMT, whatever. And I was like, yeah, but if I'm on a call and I'm EMS and someone's not there fast enough and I can administer it faster, whatever the situation may be, I still can't do it legality wise. And they're like, no. So I kept pushing them, and I was like, hey, and this was all around May. I was like, hey, you guys need to run a class for Narcan with the state. It's going to be state funded. They'll teach us a class, like we can do a whole group meeting. I said, and if people don't want to do it, make them get points for it. So they are like required to do it. And then everybody gets Narcan certified. And then we can keep our Narcan on us. And then as a citizen, we can loophole it to where we can administer Narcan legally without the liability of the ambulance, because there's like the civilian crossover with being a medic. So technically, like if you're not an EMT, you can't administer it, but as a civilian, you can. So if I'm an EMT civilian, technically, I can administer the Narcan, and so could someone else, whatever. And they kept fighting me and fighting me and fighting me on that for months leading up to me quitting. And we finally had this guy, God bless his soul, he died, Mr. Fred. He was vouching for me like literally for forever. And he was like, no, this is really important. You should do this. And he was like higher up in the fire department, many years in, ex-engineer or whatever. He never became captain, I don't think, because he was also dealing with people being mean to him. I think just because he was a little bit weird. Like there was nothing wrong with him other than maybe I think he was on the spectrum a little bit. Like people could tell that he was different, but he was a nice guy. And he helped me to get that class, and it makes me feel good knowing that even though, you know, I did a lot of things, and I just feel like at least I was left with that. Like that's kind of like a little bit of my legacy there, that whoever took that class could help any of those people that overdosed during that time, because it was so complicated to have people that were allowed to administer it, which caused for more people to die. So I'm happy with that. He also begged me to stay and not to quit, to at least take the class for myself. But I was like, I don't even want to at this point. Not that I was giving up on helping people, but I just had so much going on in my life that like I'm already legally responsible, like BLS certified. If anybody has a heart attack or stroke or whatever, if there's an accident, like I had a C-collar in my car, even off duty, like I can just throw on a C-collar and you know, incident control, whatever. We can figure it out. It's not a big deal. It could help people. But I was just like, I can't do this now. Like I need to take a break. There's too much going on in my life. I can't be Narcan certified if this is happening around me. Like I can't mentally handle it anymore. I was at my breaking point with everything going on in my life. Anyways, I feel like I did some good. I helped some people. I gained the experience I needed to gain. If I ever did want to go to medical school, I know I can handle it. I can handle a fast situation, treat patients and stuff. I did get some trauma from it. I have some memories that are, I wouldn't say good, but I did do some good. So, there's that. So, yeah, if you can volunteer for your local fire department, go ahead. Like, don't be discouraged by this. They always need members. It's something good that helps the community. It helps people, seriously. Without volunteer members, people will have to pay for ambulance rides, which isn't good. If you think about it, if you ever need an ambulance, it's gonna be like $17,000. Or you can have a free ride provided by government funding because we're volunteers. So that helps. But it's also good to give back to your community and to help people. But if you can't do something like that and you can financially afford to donate to your local fire department if there's volunteers, because they always need the funding. It helps to buy new equipment. It helps to buy the ambulance supplies or whatever that they need, to upgrade the uniform, to help with safety, or help with training and stuff like that. I did want to like talk to you guys more about other stuff, but we just hit our 2-hour mark. So I do apologize. This is so long. But I'm glad I talked to you guys about it. I mean, like I said, like, if you guys could take anything away from it, it's just to stand up for yourself. Don't take shit from other people that are treating you like shit. I could have left, like, I didn't have to stay that long with how much shit I dealt with, but I was so determined to volunteer my time to help people that I was like, I didn't care what I went through to do it until I got to my breaking point. And I really needed help after that. So, I mean, my circumstance is very unique. That may not happen to anybody, hopefully. But yeah, it was just a really hard time in my life, really crazy time. I can't say I would go back and do it again, but I probably would. Like, I literally, like 2 years ago, I was like, maybe I should rejoin the fire department, but in hook and ladder so I can be a firefighter. Because I had friends with like an ex-captain. And he was like, I can get you in. And I was like, all right, maybe I'll think about it. And then I was like, you know what? With my back issues and my disability and all this that I have now, it's best that I don't, because I could just drive the fire truck. It's not a big deal. But I just was like, you know what? Let me just focus on my health and feeling better physically and emotionally, and focus on Twitch. And here we are, leading this all back to us here today on our Shrimp Fried Rice podcast. So I know this was kind of crazy episode. I can't even say like if this was a good or bad one, so I'm sorry. This is maybe just a crazy story to hear of my experience, or maybe a lesson to learn. But if you've had any of these experiences that were negative happen to you, please just report them. It's not okay that these people get away with these things. You know, like I said, I had so much stuff going on in my life that, you know, I didn't keep pursuing, like reporting that cop that followed me home. Like it, and that maybe, you know, could have happened to someone else. It probably still can. Like, I checked on him. I did so much research to try to figure out what his name was and who he was, because the police department was hiding his identity for his safety. And because I wasn't a member anymore, they were just like, look, you're acting like a fucking crazy person. And I'm like, I'm not acting like a crazy person. This man like followed me home with his company vehicle as a police officer in a cop car in full uniform with no lights, no sirens, until he showed up at my house to get my attention at like 1 in the morning, 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning, to ask me out. That's so unprofessional. If he wanted to ask me out, he could have done it in the parking lot when he was changing, which was also unprofessional. Anyways, I'm sorry if anyone has experienced those things. And there's more to my lore than just that. There's so much trauma. And I don't want to just trauma dump on you guys and act like you guys are my therapist, but I do want to like share my experiences too, to an extent, so people who have gone through this stuff maybe open their eyes and see that they need to seek resources, that they need help, or maybe it's just some more deep lore you guys are learning about me for my shrimp history. I don't know. This I every episode I'm like, I pray before the episode and I'm like, you know, I hope this helps somebody. Like if anybody can take anything from this, I hope it just helps at least one person. And I think that's just my goal with this podcast, besides it helping me. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Have a great day at work if you're at work. Have a great week. Actually, it's a holiday this Monday, so maybe you guys are gonna be enjoying this podcast alone at home. Enjoy that barbecue before the cold weather. All right, guys, I need to go eat some lunch, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And for anybody who has given me subscriptions, I appreciate you. Check out all my socials here, but I have more in my link tree in my bio. I appreciate you all so much. Just be you, be authentically you, and don't take shit from other people. Stand up for yourself and get the help that you need, whatever it may be. All right. Have a great day. Have a great week. Thank you all so much for watching. All right. Bye, guys.